all my powers, address your love and might to honor Helen and to be her knight.
Shakespeare has also suffered from the way it's been taught for many years in schools as, this perplexing, kind of imperturbable, very dense material that you have to really pay attention to understand.
Ah, yes, I remember it well. Reading Shakespeare in high school, where keeping an eye on the footnotes carried more weight than the text itself. Shouldn't be that way, though.
We're from Franklin County High School, and these are the sophomore honors English students, and they're so excited to be here today.
That's because an auditorium so comprised might be just the audience Shakespeare himself had in mind 4 centuries ago.
I imagine it's much like a clearer sense of what Shakespeare's audience might have been, much more instantly responsive. Young kids are much more viscerally connected with the visual, what they're seeing. A yada, yada, yada? What do you mean?
If the face seems familiar in spite of the ears, you might recognize Henry Warrenitz from the Yada 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 episode of Seinfeld. Shakespeare is his passion, with nearly 4 decades of barred performances to his credit, including student shows like this one, and an excellent reason for doing so.
I spent my whole life working in the theater, and you realize fairly early on in your career that unless students and young people come to the theater, there will be no adult audiences. This play is 400 years old, and guys dressing up as girls is still funny. Mistaken identity, people falling in love with the wrong people. I've done several shows here at the IRT now, and I'm always been very impressed by the student audiences here. They seem very prepared. It is a different energy, and you kind of feel that they get some things that the adult audience won't.
When I read the script, I didn't get it.
Yeah. Shakespeare's still a tough sell for the very young, but Ethan Halford Holder gets it now. He plays the boy in this production, and perhaps he makes the best case for continuing to bring the Bard to audiences of all ages. To get it, Shakespeare needs to be seen and felt, and not to be just words on a page.
How old are each of you?
10. Jinx.
And don't let his age fool you. He's quite the pro, fielding questions about his performance at a post-show matrix, and knowing how to play an audience as well as work his craft.
What's the most difficult part of putting a play together?
Tech.
Tech stuff?
Tech is the hardest.
What's tech?
What
Can you
is
tell them
tech?
what tech is?
Well, we go really slow, and we have to figure out where this thing has to be and where the other thing has to be.
Yeah, and we have to hold a lot for lighting. Cycle lighting. Like lighting and music cues and sound cues.
If we have people that don't laugh too much, we have to play it seriously. If they laugh a lot, then we can play it differently. We'll say our lines differently. It's the same line, but we'll say it in a different emotion.
Then again, there are aspects to Ethan's life that are not those of a typical grade schooler.
I have to go to my agent in Chicago to do auditions. So now I can go to the Joffrey Ballet, but I'm on the wait list now, so it's but yeah.
Of course, if the art scene continues to improve by leaps and bounds in Indianapolis, as it has in the past, there'll be lots of plum roles coming from out of town to indie actors instead of vice versa.
There are so many reasons why we continue to choose to stay in Indianapolis, and IRT is a big part of it. And one of the things that I love about the IRT is this sort of family atmosphere. I feel like I have some sort of rapport with, through the whole building, and that is really important to me. And it's an example of how life is not just about the career or the partnership, but all the sort of intangibles that sort of surround that.
Our history is in this building. Our wedding reception was on the 6th floor in the ballroom. And when I did Julius Caesar here 10 years ago, Jen came to see that show. And I remember I started the show, a spotlight came up on me, I turned, and I could feel her. I was like, oh, Jen's here. And now, fast forward all these years later, we've done Julius Caesar together and created this life. I am the only fairy in the show that has put glitter on. This is cleared by our director. Peter Amster said, I want glitter on the toes. And maybe it's because my wife is playing Queen of the Fairies. She actually painted my toes. We have so many actors from Chicago and New York come to our home for get-togethers, and they're just like, wait a minute, you make a living as an actor and live here? This is amazing. So I always think there are many different paths, and New York, Chicago, LA, that's wonderful, but boy, Indianapolis is a great, great option for an artist.
And so for today, our Actors Hour on the stage is done. But there is always the anticipation that it will all happen again, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow.
I gotta go. It's a half-hour call. I gotta go. Showtime.